when I first started, I thought, right, I'm going to be like, I want to write like David Bowie and like the Beatles and everything. And I started trying to write more like Bowie. You know, I was very influenced by the Spiders from Mars, and it was just a total mess, and it was pretentious like Claptrap. And then I got into Buddy Holly.
From Bowie to Holly,
and I got absolutely obsessed with it. So I started then. I thought, no, I'm not going to try and be David. I'm going to try and write these 3-minute pop songs that are really catchy. And then I was round my friends one night, playing the guitar around there. He used to record me singing them. You know, he was a very good friend. And all of a sudden, his father came into the room. He said, "That's sounding a lot better what you're doing now than what you've done in the past." I thought, oh God. You know, like somebody else is like thinks I might be onto something, and that's what I then concentrated on.
Welcome to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. Today and every day, reaching out for innovative ideas in every way. Today's show is brought to you by your future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee. Make a better each day now, baby. Better in every way.
My friend Neil Fitzsimon just bounced off a satellite from England to join you and me. Neil is the songwriter and guitarist of Fitzsimon and Brogan, and Bee Brogan, of course, is his sweetie and the voice of Fitzsimon and Brogan, and so far I've yet to figure out an attractive enough bribe to get her on the show. Here's their latest single, Girl in a Gilded Cage, coming out October 19th.
You got your looks, but that won't last long. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. I place a bet that I won't be wrong. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. She tried to break the code of love. She tried to break the code of love. Tainted. Yeah, she was tainted. Tainted. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. Somehow that dress looks out of place. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. Time cast a shadow upon her face. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. She tried to break the code of love. She tried to break the code of love. Tainted. Yeah, she was tainted. Tainted. With the faintest trace of a smile on your lips, holding cotton tales of all those you fears. They don't exist, and she was tainted. Yes, she was tainted, tainted. She tried to break the code of love. 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 Tainted. Yeah, she was tainted. Tainted. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. She's just a girl in a gilded cage. She's just a girl in a gilded cage.
Great song, Girl in a Gilded Cage. That song and the albums Big Blue World and its latest Squeeze are all available on Spotify, iTunes, Napster, anywhere where music can be downloaded. And now, here's Neil Fitzsimon.
And I think another thing as well, both of us, I don't know about you, Bruce, is that we both hate these big heartfelt ballads that they come out now, where they, these lovelorn ballads that mean absolutely nothing. It sounds like they've got a heart that's a swinging brick. I'm just not into that at all.
Well put.
Yeah. I spoke just about current music and about the influences of and the way what's in the email, the way the music really has gone down the toilet a little bit now, especially in the UK.
Why do you say UK? Is it just germane to the UK and not America, or?
Yeah, I just don't think there's such a wide scope of music in this country, because we went to London a couple of weeks ago, and all the places you go to, like coffee places, they're playing this, I don't know what to say, like this EDM, like pop music, and it's just one track after another with a vocal that's been done on a vocoder or something like that, and it's just, as I said, I think now that the type of music that we do, we're seen as outsiders now. Bands who do that type of stuff, you're called left field now for doing our stuff, where back in those days of the 60s and 70s, that was the main type of music, but now it's been shoved away by these plastic cardboard cutout people, and that playing one song with a terrible drum machine on it, and it just drives me mad. Is Ed Sheeran popular in the States?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get Ed Sheeran at all.
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Yeah, I appreciate what he does.
Oh right, yeah, because I have a problem. He doesn't look like a pop star. He looks like somebody who works on a farm.
Need your oil change there, ma'am? Yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought too, to be truthful. But I don't. Yeah. Aside from that, he sounds good. He's a good singer.
Yeah.
And
I just, these singer-songwriters today, I just haven't got a lot of time for, when you compare them to somebody like Cat Stevens, something like that.
He came out of an interesting era and group of people as well. The Kinks, Rod Stewart. I think Hendrix toured with Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
And Engelbert Humperdinck, of all people. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Cat Stevens wrote First Cut is the Deepest, didn't he? He wrote that when he was about 16 or 17.
He did, yeah. That's crazy. You never thought that. I heard him sing it on a special, and it didn't sound anything like Rod Stewart's version, but it was a good song. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a 60s nut. I'm reading a book on the Beatles again now, by Geoff Emerick, the engineer and all their sessions. Amazing stuff. Yeah, of all the Beatles stuff that I've ever read, the Geoff Emerick stuff is fascinating. And
have you read that?
Yeah.
Have you read the book? Oh, yeah, because the thing about that book, I had to order that from the States because no one would publish it in this country.
What?
Yeah.
It's so good it's censored in England. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm reading it now, and some of the stuff about those last sessions they did, it's like poison, isn't it?
What was crazy about those guys is, like, Lennon would say, I want it to sound like this, and he didn't seem to articulate it very well, what he even wanted. And so we better figure something out, or he's not going to be happy. And they'd come up with a Strawberry Fields or something, and it was changing the voltage on the motor on the recorder or something crazy. I would never even think of want to do. I'd break the machine probably, but they were taking things apart. They
were. I found it really fun. I read the other night when I was reading it. Is that when he used to say to McCartney, "What do you want? Like on your vocal or on your bass?" He said, "I want a bit of top end, and I want can you compress it a bit and everything like that." And he said, whereas with like John Lennon, he said to John Lennon, "What do you want your vocal to sound like?" "I am the Walrus." He said, "I want it to sound like I'm singing on the moon."
Yeah, I know.
I thought that was brilliant.
I guess you'd have to know him personally. What they came up with was just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But Geoff Emerick, I think, was in his teens when he started working with those guys.
He was.
Yeah.
He was 15.
Yeah, but I thought I was going to say 17. 15?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was born in 1948, and he started. Oh, hang on a minute. 48. What's that? Yeah, he was only about 15 or 16 years old.
How did he get that gig?
I think what happened was that he told his careers officer, they come around to schools and, you get the chat of what you prefer. And he wanted to do that. He had a great love of like recording. He was already making up, he's cutting tapes, splicing it, making his own playlists. And he told the careers officer, and the careers officer tried to like dissuade him and said, there's not many jobs going like that. And then about 7 weeks later, this careers officer got a phone call from another careers officer who said, do you know of anyone who might be interested going into the recording industry? Because EMI are looking for an apprentice engineer. And that's how he got it.
Wow.
And
and by the way, you'll be working with the Beatles.
Yeah. I don't know how he did it. I mean, I would have been, when I've been reading about, the way that they spoke to him and George Martin, when they were like, they're like royalty then, weren't they? And the way Lennon spoke to him, I don't know, I could never have put up with that. No way. And they worked so hard as well, didn't they? And the Beatles started coming in at midnight and working all through the night, and they had to be there ready to record whenever they felt like it.
For the benefit of Mr. Kite, they were trying to put together that whirly sound that you can't even, like you're on the moon. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it was, they couldn't find Calliope recordings.
They didn't they go to like some room where they kept all the sound effects, and then they threw all the bits of tape up in the end and then put them into like any order, and it all came out like that.
Yeah, get what recordings you can, and now I think George Martin told Geoff Emerick to cut it up into 10-inch pieces, something to that effect.
Yeah,
and throw it over your head and then
it?
splice it together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great.
It sounds pretty cool what they ended up with.
And tonight, Mr. Kite is topping the bill.
Oh my God! And because I told you I actually went there, that and did some stuff down there.
Yeah, I know. I'm not worthy. You're the man. You got to go there. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was quite amazing. Because we went down just to do like some production stuff down there, post-production stuff. The rest of the band didn't come with me. I went on my own because the bass player couldn't be bothered and everything like that. So I went down to do some stuff down there with a producer. And I think Bee really regrets that she didn't go that day with me now.
Do you find that you're more aggressive than most other people in pursuing your goals and your dreams and stuff? Because I run into that myself, and a lot of people look at me like, what are you, crazy? What are you doing, man? I
think I told you, didn't I? When they said, we're a bit of a force to be reckoned with because we had a little bit of a sharp tongue, shall we say, with people. But yeah, you've got to be like, as we've been talking about, I don't think John Lennon, as much as I love him, and like I love Elvis Costello, and I love people like David Bowie, I don't think they were the most pleasant of people in the long run. They had that edge to them, and I think to survive in that, you've got to have a bit of that, to be quite honest.
It's kind of ironic that John Lennon was such a promoter of peace and everything, but he had that other side of the sword to him,
Oh yeah, he was terrible. Well, some of the things, I've read a lot of books on him, and some of the remarks he made were really, quite. And I watched an interview today. I was just flicking through YouTube of where Lennon was saying, he said, I remember my first headline with the Beatles was that I decked, which is like, knocked out a photographer at a party who was taking pictures when I didn't want any pictures taken, and he just knocked him out. And I thought, oh my God.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. But I think the weird thing about Lennon was that out of all of them, he came from the most middle-class background.
He did.
he used to put on that Scouser accent, and I know his Aunt Mimi used to say to him, "Why the hell are you talking like that? Like you're a real, like," I think they called them whackers, didn't they? The ones who like came from like the dock area.
You're asking me? I don't know.
Yeah, they're like the real Scousers, you know. But he lived in a part of Liverpool that was a little bit more upmarket.
Yeah, you know what? I want to go to England and visit, because I have absolutely no idea. Have you ever been to America?
No, I've never been.
Well,
never been.
We should do a student exchange program.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What part are you in, Bruce?
The West Coast, Seattle.
The only thing I know about Seattle is watching Fraser Crane.
Yeah, that's right. You see that? Yeah, okay, it's nothing like that.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love that program.
Yeah.
Really
when I talk to people around the world and really across the United States, we're kind of known for grunge bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because there are all kinds of different music that comes out of here. But for all things, grunge music was a thing. But then there's Starbucks coffee. The Seattle stereotypes.
Is that where Nirvana came from?
Nirvana was actually from Aberdeen. That's the town I grew up in. And Aberdeen,
was it?
Aberdeen's closer to the coast. Yeah. Here's a little about my background. In Aberdeen, it rains about 85 inches a year. So we had a lot of garage bands because there was nothing else to do, sort of, and it was popular. And in the 60s, it was guitar bands were getting really popular, and there were some songs that were pretty easy to play. And the Beatles were huge, so we were learning harmonies and stuff, and that was just what everybody kind of did. And as when I were in like the late 70s, and I opened for some pretty notable bands and stuff, just because we were pretty good, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time. But a lot of kids would come and listen to us rehearse, and we were down. The house we rented was in an area of Aberdeen we called it Felony Flats. It was kind of a tough part of town. Kind of got to be a druggy, high crime area. Kurt Cobain grew up about a block from this house where we used to rehearse. I didn't know him personally, but I knew his mom a short while, a summer between college years for me. And he was, I don't know, 13, something like that. And then I came back years later, and somebody said there's this new band, Nirvana, and they handed me a cassette tape. It wasn't even on CD, what they gave me. And I listened to it. I thought, that's pretty cool. I had no idea it was going to be like quadruple platinum in about 4 weeks. It was Kurt Cobain. I thought, that must be Wendy's kid. Because Wendy was going through, she had just divorced when I knew her. Yeah. So when you read some of the books about Nirvana or Kurt Cobain and stuff, and he was kind of pissed off because she was seeing other guys.
Did he sleep rough, like slept outside and everything like that? He was a bit,
they say there was a bridge he slept under.
Yeah.
There's a bridge that goes across a river that you could pretty much throw a rock across the river. A muddy river called Wishkah, which I believe means muddy river. The Wishkah River. Wendy, his mom, ended up marrying my brother-in-law years later, and that's and Kurt hated him because my brother-in-law was a pretty good drinker back in the day. He doesn't drink at all now. So there were nights where Kurt would just leave, and that was one of the places he kind of hung out. So I don't know that he was like sleeping, consistently under the bridge.
No,
but then one of the teachers from the college or the high school I went to kind of adopted him because he took in kind of the kids in the area that needed a place to stay, and he stayed with Mr. Schillinger was his name. Stayed with him for a while. So, and it's strange to go back there because everybody thinks I knew Kurt personally and everything. I knew him as a little kid, but I knew his mother much better, and I knew his family and all that. And then they asked me, well, did he kill himself or was it a conspiracy? Did Courtney have him whacked? And I have no idea. No. It depends on who you talk to.
I thought he was brilliant, though. I thought they were that album, like Nevermind, I think is a class. The first time myself and Bee saw them was on a Friday night. We used to have a program here called The Word, which is like a bit of anarchic late night, Friday night for all the people that had just come out of the bars and pubs to watch.
Yeah.
And when I saw them doing like Smells Like Teen Spirit, I said to Bee, what the hell is this? And we went and bought the album the following day. And then the other songs on that album, like Lithium and everything like that, I think, they're just brilliant songs.
Open for Heart, when they were just starting out, right before Dreamboat Annie really took off.
I really like that. I mean, that alone, I think that's a fantastic song. I think it's really unfortunate that in the video for that the blonde-haired girl, that's her sister, isn't it?
Nancy, yeah.
She was the one that they show more of, even though it's the dark-haired girl that's got the voice.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. And MTV was really getting kind of strange during that period.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it either. I do know that. No. And the big hair and all that stuff. And the bands were, the bands were kind of the big hair bands and stuff. And they were like avoiding Michael Jackson. Now, if anybody should be on a video, I would think Michael Jackson dancing was pretty cool. Well, Thriller came out, and that changed everything on MTV. And it got kind of stagnant again. And that's when Nirvana came out with that video that you were just speaking of. And that knocked it over.
Oh, the one with the janitor in the high school. Yeah, where he's mopping the floor while the band are going mad and all the cheerleaders.
And they tear the place up. The story behind that was Kurt's idea to do the pep rally thing with the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And they ordered pizza so they'd get some kids to come and everything. And then they did take after take, and it just took a long time. And after a while, the kids got so restless, they started to leave. So I think this was Kurt's idea too. He said, just let them rip up the set and just have a crazy time. And that's what they ended up, that's what they're doing, is they just got restless and they tore it up. So that's...
that's a great... Yeah, do you like that song, Teen Spirit?
I do. And, the first time I heard it, I heard the first couple of chords.
They're so good, aren't they?
Maybe the first measure. And I thought it was Mother Freedom by Bread.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then it sounded like, I don't know, More Than a Feeling, Boston. All this happened within the first couple seconds, but I almost pulled my car over. I was driving and I had it on the radio.
Really, they're good.
Really the first time I heard that, and it was, one of those, what the heck? Because it just didn't fit in with what else was on the playlist, whatever I was listening to, and it was crazy, I have to ask you this question, and I want to use this. You're 35 years old, right?
Yeah.
How is it you know so much, you're so influenced by music of the 60s, 70s, and the bands we tend to talk about all the time? How does that work out? It's like a time machine or something. You're amazing.
Yeah, it's because my mum, she was into all of that stuff in the 60s. She used to pre-order all the Beatles music and everything like that, and she was totally into it. So I got through that, and when I just listened to that, I just didn't really have a lot of time for all the 80s stuff, that awful synth music. And strangely enough, one of my sister's boys now, he is obsessed with the Beatles as well, and he's only a kid, but I heard him play the drums, and he was absolutely unbelievable. But the one thing he lacks, he's got no drive to do anything with it. And my sister said to me, "How can you talk? Can't you have a word with them?" I said, you can't tell people to do that. It's got to come from within. But yeah, I would say that it was that I was influenced by all those people, and I suppose in a way, I'm stuck in a time warp, but. I think it's a good place to be. Tell you when I first got an idea that I was doing something right was when I first started. I thought, right, I'm going to be like, I want to write like David Bowie and like the Beatles and everything. And I started trying to write more like Bowie. You know, I was very influenced by the Spiders from Mars, and it was just a total mess, and it was pretentious like Claptrap. And then I got into Buddy Holly.
From Bowie to Holly?
And I got absolutely obsessed with it. So I started then. I thought, no, I'm not going to try and be David, but I'm going to try and write these 3-minute pop songs that are really catchy. And then I was around my friends one night, playing the guitar around there. He used to record me singing them. You know, he was a very good friend. And all of a sudden, his father came into the room. He said, "That's sounding a lot better what you're doing now than what you've done in the past." I thought, oh, God. You know, like somebody else is like thinks I might be onto something, and that's what I then concentrated on.
Where is
listening to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. We'll be back with a new horizon, but until then, honor the future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee.
And we're all just trying to make the next day a bit better.